The hour has already come for you to wake up from your slumber, because our salvation is nearer now than when we first believed. The night is nearly over, and the day is almost here. So begins our first day, not just in a new liturgical season, but in a new liturgical year. The church year doesn't start on January 1st. The church year starts here. It was last week and the weeks that preceded where we were kind of summing everything up. The life of Christ, what it means to the world, to us throughout history, existentially, philosophically, theologically, that at the end of all things, we can sum up God's greatest plan of salvation, witnessed throughout Scripture that Christ is King. And the bow is wrapped, and it's all done. And so I've been talking about starting over, and starting new, and starting fresh. And that's what Advent, the beginning, is all about. We're starting over, starting new, starting fresh. So why does it seem to start in such an awkward place? Now, we know, because we've been around for a little while, and if you don't, then I will remind you, that Advent is the 4 weeks of preparation prior to Christmas. See, when I say the church year starts in Advent, I mean we start in the position of waiting, hoping, and longing for the incarnation. That God's promised Messiah is he who was born in Bethlehem. He who was laid in an animal's feeding trough and surrounded by shepherds and sanctuary by angels. That's the one that not only the people of Israel have been waiting and hoping and longing for, but the entire world has been waiting and hoping and longing for. So our church year starts off in a position of waiting and hoping and longing. Waiting for that to come so that we are prepared for the gift of Christmas. And so those candles of Advent, we light them one at a time, the first week, second, and so on, so that we have the time to be prepared, that as we start off the gospel story anew, Jesus is a tiny baby, that we do so, not stumbling into it, not as a surprise, but with our hearts prepared as well as our homes, with our insides as well as our outsides, as we are buying trees and stringing lights and decorating presents, so we are also pointing our very souls to he who is the reason for this season. And this might seem like a weird place to start. If we're starting all over again, then why is Jesus talking about the coming day of the Lord and how it's like Noah and the flood and people are going to be swept away? Why is it that we are getting from Paul writing to the Romans talking about kind of ultimate ends and conclusions, the salvation of our own souls and the redemption of this entire world? Does this really sound like what you read from the beginning? It kind of sounds like more what you read at the end. Well, this is where I think it fits beginning and end together. The Advent starts off at the beginning, but it does so in almost a symmetrical and a circular fashion. That the beginning is connected to the end, which is connected to the beginning, which is connected to the end. And as we are preparing ourselves inside and out for the coming of Christ at Christmas, that we are preparing ourselves inside and out for his triumphal return, where he will come again, not this time in humility and as a baby, but this time in glory, and this time forever. And so here we are. We're starting off right here and right now in this place that feels like the beginning and feels like the end, and it's all wrapped up together. And this is why I think it is. I love Christmas. I mean, I love Christmas. If you've ever seen the movie Elf with Will Ferrell as a giant human-sized man raised by Christmas! I mean, that's kind of me. I'm basically a big dumb kid, and Christmas is the highlight of the year. It is the most wonderful time of the year, period, the end. And I love Advent. I think Advent is awesome. I think that churches that don't do Advent are completely missing out. To take this time and be prepared so that we don't just sort of wake up Christmas morning and say, hey, it's Christmas morning. Because we don't do that in any other elements of our lives. I mean, you wouldn't wake up Christmas morning and say, you know what, I think I ought to get a tree today. It's too late now. You know what, maybe I should buy presents for people. Nothing's open. You have to do that in advance. Well, as we're spending this time to be prepared on the outside, Advent says be prepared on the inside as well. And to me, that seems just right. But this time of year, it's like magical and it's wonderful and I love it. And I look forward to it all year long because it's beautiful. And it's peaceful and it's joyful and everything just seems a little brighter. We're going to string lights on our house and we're going to get a tree and the house is not going to smell like dog for a few weeks, but it's going to smell like a Christmas tree. And we're going to wrap presents and things, and there'll be stockings on the mantle by the fireplace. And it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be everywhere. Neighborhoods will be decorated. And I still like to drive around sometimes at night and just see how other people have decorated. It's like the whole world for a few weeks is a little brighter. And it's a little happier. And it's a little more joyful. And it's a little more peaceful. And then we'll get into Christmas, and it's worth the time, and it's this great moment, and my kids are still young enough, and you still have that kind of moment of, oh, look where I go. And it just is this beautiful, wonderful, joyful time. And it makes me so sad. I love it. And it makes me so sad. And I know I'm weird. You guys know I'm weird. I've been here for a while. You know how weird I am. I have a sense of melancholy about this time, though I love it so much. And it's not actually about what you might think, like, oh, we think about the people that we cannot celebrate Christmas with in this mortal life any longer. I mean, sure, that can be a part of it. But for me, it's kind of always been that way. I was the kid who, growing up, when I was in school, loved the weekends. Freedom, not in school. But Sunday was always this kind of weirdly mixed day for me. And it's not about church, it was about, I couldn't really enjoy Sunday. Sunday made me sad because I knew that tomorrow was Monday. And that the freedom was going to come to an end. And as a matter of fact, it was almost done. So now I'm sad and I'm upset because, school tomorrow. And I couldn't really enjoy so much what I had been blessed with in that time because it was kind of tainted with this feeling of impending doom. That very soon, the hours of the clock were going to keep on ticking. And it was going to be Monday again. And the weekend would be over. And though I love this time of year, it is the most wonderful time, part of me is sad because I know it's going to be done. And that must seem strange, and I get it, maybe nobody else thinks this way, but at least for me, some of my joy in this time is weighted, or it's even tainted or touched by the knowledge that we're going to keep lighting candles, and eventually all the candles are going to be lit, that the arms of the clock are going to keep on turning, that the pages of the calendar are going to keep on moving, and that this time, which is so wonderful, and everyone seems happier, and everything seems brighter, and everything seems a little more beautiful, it's going to be done. And it's going to be over. And we're going to be back to the same old humdrum that we have been having all year long. And a part of me goes through these days of joy and wonder and thinks, I'm already sad because it's going to come to an end. And I know that must be strange. The saddest song The saddest sign that I can think of, my mother-in-law used to have this little cute chalkboard sign that she would hang on her door about this time of year. And you could erase and rewrite in chalk how many days until Christmas. And so, you're 30 days, and 29 and 28, and counting down, and you erase it. And you can feel the time getting short and getting near. And as you are more excited because Christmas is coming closer and that number is getting smaller, we go from 3 days to Christmas, then 2, and then 1, and then there's always a 0 right there at Christmas Day, and we're having a wonderful time, and it's family celebration, and exchanging gifts, and the kids are deliriously happy, and it's just this wonderful, wonderful time that you wish you could just freeze. You wish you could just kind of make it last, and you know it's not going to last, so you're trying to enjoy as much as you can, because at some point that clock is going to keep ticking, and it's going to be December 26th again, and no matter how many times I wish people wouldn't do it, someone always wrote that next day, 365 days to the next Christmas. And it always just made me so sad. And that may seem like a strange thing to be sad about, or odd that I would allow it to be a part of this time that I love. But I also think that is deep within the heart of Advent itself. This melancholy amidst the hope and the joy. The sadness that is sort of just folded right in with a sense of expectation and happiness. Just like Advent and Christmas, though magical, will come to an end. This world, amidst its blessings, the blessings too innumerable to count, the things of this life that we count on and depend upon and that we love dearly and truly, friends and family and the experiences and our homes and our lives and everything else, they will come to an end. And it is crystal clear through our readings that this mortal life has a mortal conclusion. And as good as these gifts might be, and as much as we might enjoy them, they do not last. If we grip tight, or if we want to freeze them in amber, it kind of doesn't matter. The arms of the clock keep moving. The calendar keeps turning. And day turns into day, turns into day. But if all we get out of this is simply melancholy, then I think we've missed something important as well. Because when we have that sense of melancholy and sadness, the things of this world do not last, I think it points to an even deeper truth that is more profound and important than the joys that we have here and now. And that is, we were not built for just the joys of this world. We were not built for just the simple flow of time from yesterday into today and into tomorrow. That we were built for something that does last. Where the things that we count on and depend upon, the people that we know and that we love, where we never say goodbye. Where they never get sick, and they never suffer, and they never go away, and they never die. We long for it. Something in our hearts just sort of rages when we think about the passage of time and how these things that we love and we enjoy are ephemeral. And they fade, they disappear, or they just kind of float away. And we want to hold on to them tight, whether it's a moment of pure joy, like watching a small child open a Christmas gift, because there's nothing like that. I I wish I could make it last. I wish, but I can't. And why does my heart want it so much? To stand over the bedside of a friend. It's not right. It's not the way it should be. I shouldn't have to watch them suffer. I shouldn't have to know that they will die. This should not be the end. The things of this life that are good and the things of this life that frighten us, that scare us, that weigh us down until we are sure that our hearts will be crushed. But this mortal life is not the end, and that we were built for more. And that is what I think the melancholy of Advent is pointing us to. That even amidst the joy and the happiness, whether of the season or of this mortal life, that there's still this gnawing hunger, this unsettled feeling within us, because this earth is not our home, not forever. And there is something within us that yearns and longs for more. That yearns and longs for right and for good and for stuff to just last. Not frozen, but evergreen, ever new. Advent is circular in that regard because that is the truth eternally that it is pointing us to. That the beginning is the end and the end is the beginning. The end of Advent, we celebrate the nativity of our Lord, the holy incarnation, Emmanuel, God with us. The long-awaited promise doesn't come with a conquering general, but it comes with God Almighty Himself, humbling Himself to say, your own life I will adopt as my own. At the end of all of this creation that we count on and we depend on, that we know and that we love, that Christ will return to claim His own. And that which is good, and it is holy, and it is right, and it is true, it's not going to be lost. Because it cannot be taken from His hand. And we hope, and we yearn, and we long, and Advent says one day. One day. When? You're on the clock here, Jesus. Well, I don't know. I don't know. And neither do you. And neither does anybody else. And stop buying books and watching TV shows where people promise they do. There is no chart that you can create. There is no formula which you can apply. Jesus Himself says He doesn't know. The angels don't know. God the Father alone knows when the play will be done. And like C.S. Lewis says, the author will take the stage. Therefore, be ready. Just be ready in general. Whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's 1,000 years from now, to live a life that is pleasing and honorable to the God who loves and saves us. To live lives that offer and reflect that love and service that He has blessed us with first to others who are in need. To live in such a way that when His return does happen as a surprise, it's not this sort of unpleasant shock when someone knocks at your door for a visit you weren't expecting, and you run frantically around trying to shove stuff under you. You don't know the day or hour. We cannot put off for a more convenient time where, well, if we got a few years, I think we'll just kind of let things hang for a while, and then kind of like the kid taking a final exam at the end of the semester, we'll just cram real hard at the end. We don't know. We can count off candles until Christmas. But all that is showing us for His return is that we grow closer every day. So when is he going to come back? When is he going to set things right? When will there finally be a new creation in its fullness, where we never say goodbye, where we never suffer, where we never cry, but the glory of the Lord shines in and through his people, and it never, ever, ever fades away? I don't know, but it has never been closer than it has been right now. Tomorrow, next year, or in 1,000 years. But it's never been as close as it is today. And if we were granted it tomorrow, then it will never be as close as it has been in that moment. So we light our candles, we prepare homes, and we prepare our hearts. We do so with hope and expectation, maybe even a little melancholy. But I'm going to suggest that even the melancholy is okay. A little bit of that sadness and grief of real life, because it's pointing us to something else. That this world is not the end. And our hope is not found in taking the moments of joy and trying to squeeze as tightly as possible so that they will last forever. We know it won't work. We've seen the calendar pages turn in our own lives, and we know there's no real going back. But just as the candles of Advent will lead us faithfully towards Christmas, so will this time of preparation lead us faithfully towards his triumphant return. So be ready. Don't put it off. Lead a life even today that you will not be embarrassed or ashamed. When the Lord comes as a surprise, it will be a surprise of joy. And maybe even relief. And certainly to know what you have been hoping for and longing for has finally come. Because our salvation is nearer now than when we first believed. Be of good cheer. The night, in its darkness and shadows, and its suffering and its death, the night is nearly over. The day, with its breaking dawn, with the glory of the Lord, is long awaited promise. The day is almost here. Come, Lord Jesus, and come. May you find us ready to welcome you.